Hello, everybody. It is great to be here one more time today. And my name is Gary Fowler, and I am the host of GSD Presents Silicon Valley AI and Tech. I'm a serial entrepreneur with 17 startups under my belt. I've been involved in several unicorns. I was on the original management team of ClickSoftware, which was sold to SalesForce for $1.35 billion, and also Yva.ai, an AI HR tech company. We love artificial intelligence and quantum computing. We love Web3, the metaverse. And with that, I've got my incredible guest, Jin, is here today. We're going to talk about Upbound. We're going to talk Web3 and the metaverse. And here he is. It's 11 o'clock at night where he is today in Tokyo. So here we are. Hi, Jin. How are you doing today?
Good. How are you? Thanks for having me.
Good to have you here. So now I was asking you a question. Where's Orange Coast College? And you studied acting?
No, who said so?
Physics? Business?
So the Orange Coast College is in Orange County, very close to UC Irvine, and I was studying mathematics and physics, not acting. I'm not gonna be an actor.
So you were studying mathematics, but I saw there physics, 3D design, acting, and business. I thought, man, that is a wide background. That's for sure.
No, it's actually, I was amazed while I was there, right? Because in Japan, if you go to university, you can only study mathematics or physics, but then in the States or the college, you get to choose whatever you want to learn. So it was a great experience for me.
Interesting. And then you studied at Shanghai Jiao Tong University. Where's that?
It's in Shanghai. So basically, I was always interested in, like making something happen in my life, right? And after I went to the States, I realized there's so many Chinese guys rising. And I met tons of Chinese friends in the States, and they told me all the goodies about China. And I, dropped out the college. I went to Shanghai. I started my own business.
You started your own business. So was it interesting in China? Did you like it there, Jin? How was it?
Yeah, I liked it because, back then, all the kids, like all the, college graduates or starting their own business instead of like going to a corporates, right? So everyone's working 24/7. Actually, back then, we said 007. Like we start 12 o'clock to 12 o'clock, like basically 7 weeks. So people are talking about 007, which is basically 24/7, right? We work 24/7 to get things done.
Got it. Interesting. Then what's the Hope for Japan project? What was that about?
Right. So one of the reason I dropped out of the college is because that was the time tsunami hit Japan, and I started this project with my college friends, and we went to 12 universities, including UC Berkeley, UCLA, and we raised about 100K US dollar to donate to tsunami, which happened in 2011.
And
So
how
that
was
was
I mean, how was it? I mean, that must have been an incredibly rewarding experience trying to help like that.
Yeah, I mean, it was because I used to live in Fukushima for 3 years because of my dad's business. And, I could relate myself, and I just wanted to do something while I was in the States.
Interesting. And then you did your internship in Shanghai in marketing. How was that? Do you speak Chinese too, or not?
At all. No, not
Not
at all.
interesting. And then, so CCD Asia, you did market research, development management. What was that like?
Okay, so that's real estate business, right? Commercial real estate agency. So what happens back then in China is a lot of people made a lot of money by selling real estates, like buildings, apartments, right? But then people start seeing a value of commercial real estate that has a longer return of investment, but that's more sustainable investment. So I worked for CCD. They have a lot of experience in this commercial field from Japan, and they had office in China, and I was able to get in through my friends. And I've been doing, I was consulting, I was communicating with the US design company and also able to help those Chinese rich guys who doesn't know anything about commercial real estate development, from merchandising to construction, building in the environment. And I was able to bridge by taking advantage of language skills.
Wow, that's amazing. And then what is this? You started a creative direction promotional proposal company called Janine
Yeah,
Production.
Jin Design, basically. Jin Design.
Oh, wow. How was that?
Right. So that was my very first company I started when I was 20. And the reason being is because the experience in CCD is, they are very strong when it comes to creative designs, architects, and all that. But they have no idea about the technology, IT, digital signage, uh, POS system, and all that, right?
Mhm.
So I just thought that bringing those, internet to the real estate or commercial retail industry, that could be quite something, right? So I didn't know anything about it, but I usually do something before I think. So I just started the company, and I ended up, knocking all the doors, and I was able to meet creative director or merchandising director from New Balance. He was overseeing all the Hong Kong, APEC, and I was able to, build a business by creating digital signage, installing to real retail. So I was able to go to UK to pitch with them. And it was great experience for 21 years old, young
Oh my
businessman.
God, that's amazing. Wow,
Yeah.
that's incredible. And did you like it?
Oh yeah. I love like all of my experience. I think, being an entrepreneur, doing new things all the time, challenging, working with the great people, that's always the best experience in your life, right?
It's amazing. And so did you like living in Shanghai? How was it?
Well, I mean, yeah, because back then renminbi was cheaper comparing to now, so I was able to leverage the salary of foreign standard, and I was able to go clubbing, hanging out with people. So it was a great experience. And like compared to Japan, at least, right? Japan is like, there's a you work for a single company for a long, long time, and that's usually a norm. But people in Shanghai, they're so aggressive, and like I said, 24/7. So it was really good for me that I was able to spend time in Shanghai when I was 20s, and I got tons of experience and you know did a lot of challenges. Yeah, I loved
Wow,
it.
that's amazing. And then you did so tell me a little bit about it. You did Undone. So tell
Yeah.
us a little bit about Undone.
Okay. So before I go into Undone, the reason I was able to do that, right, was when I was 25. I started my, new business, and it was a something like Instagram, but with the e-commerce software built in. And I was able to raise some fund in China from Chinese investors.
Interesting.
And basically, that business failed, right? And we didn't get the full amount of investment, and I had to lay off and all that. But there's a guy who has a company called iClick listed in Nasdaq,
Hmm.
and back then he was one of the investors that I pitched, and he told me, I'm not going to invest into this business, but I might be able to invest into me, right, as a businessman in the future. So after 2 years of my failure, I was still doing, working for some other big corporates, doing creatives, digital advertisement, and all that.
Hmm.
And he called me, right? Do you want to be a CEO of this company in Japan, right? He wanted to expand this customized watch D2C brand to Japan. And he talked to all the big corporates and all that, but they're super slow, and they didn't have this startup feeling. He called me. I had nothing back then, right? And suddenly I became a CEO of UNDONE Japan, and that was my very first experience working in Japan. And I was able to create a few million US dollar business within a year, and from that time on, I'm being okay, I guess.
Wow, that's amazing. That's a great story. I love it. And then, so let's talk about Upbound. Upbond. What are you doing today? And let's talk about what's happening with the metaverse Web3.
Right. So what Upbond does is we create bridge between the real consumers, real enterprises to Web3, right? So Web3 is all about, you manage your personal information, you control your data, right? That's, what people talk about it. But do you really want to control your own data? Or can you actually control your own data? I don't know how many Bitcoins I lost because of my USB lost and private key lost and all that, right? So what we're creating is a wallet service that helps you to manage your private keys securely, so that you don't lose your data, you don't lose your assets. And by taking advantage of social login and also the user experience that you're used to it, we're able to bring 99% of general population, and by providing sort of the bridge, decentralized identifier layer to be able to consent your user information to the enterprises, you will be able to, or the enterprise will be able to still use existing customer relationship management. You still control your data, but you can selectively choose your data to be given to the enterprise that you trust.
Wow.
So that's what we do.
And so, what is the future? Let's talk about what is the future of security. Web3, the metaverse. Where are we? What is Let's talk about Web3. I mean, let's tell us
Right.
the state of Web3 today, because most people don't understand it.
Right. I think, when I talk about this, I have to mention about the FTX situation, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's been a big news in the industry, and even the White House was SEC has been following. So Web3 itself is, basically a new internet, right? Where you control your data, you manage your data. But then those, FTX or other central exchange, where that's where you still, trust them to hold your assets. So I want to make sure that, this whole FTX situation and Web3 itself are different. It's connected because, we deal with the crypto assets, cryptocurrencies, but the real Web3 is different. So I still believe that this industry will still go on. I think in terms of cryptocurrency wise, we're gonna hit a winter, but the technology itself and the whole concept that you manage your data and you're able to, selectively choose a company you trust, I'm pretty sure that's going to be the future.
And then, so what is the state of it right now? So what is the state right today? So what's happening? Where is security now?
In terms of security, there's there are two. I believe there are two things happening. One is a thing called multi-party computing, where originally when we do a signing process in blockchain, the whole process was transparent. But utilizing multi-party computation, basically, I can have a single wallet address, and then between me and you do an approval, and I do also an approval to be able to sign, which gives a big advantage for corporates to be able to go in, because if it's a single wallet address, who controls it, right? We have to have consent process and all that. So the multi-party computation will definitely add another level of security to this whole thing. And the other thing is really the compliance or governance, right? Because what happened to FTX, I'm not the pro. I don't follow news that well, but what is happening is obviously they should have had kept their assets that the user is putting in, right? They probably have invested into other companies and all that, so they weren't able to, pay back to the consumers or the users that they had store their assets in.
Mhm.
So this regulations and compliance and all that are going to be very important when it comes to Web3, um, regardless of how secure it is to manage your private key or wallet, because you still want to ask somebody to hold your assets, right? You don't want to hold your $1 billion assets by yourself.
Mm-hmm. Oh, 100%. So,
Yeah,
yeah, I mean, you need somebody to be a custodian, right? To be able,
exactly.
but you need somebody to be secure. I mean, like you said, you're concerned about, losing your cryptocurrency. I mean, I got to tell you, when I started investing in crypto, I was really concerned about it too.
Yeah,
Because if you get
sure.
some nefarious character in there, everything's gone,
Mm-hmm.
just gone. And
Exactly.
then what's happening right now? By the way, Jim, why are this situation? Why the cryptocurrencies? Why they drop like a stone? I mean, it's just amazing to me, right? There's a lot of activity, but why is it?
Why is it dropped?
Yeah, why is it dropped? I mean, how does it go from 65,000 for Bitcoin down to whatever it is today? I don't even know, 16,000, 20,000. Why is it so? I mean, you would think that digital currencies will rule the world, right?
Yeah.
Why is it?
Well, I mean,
Amazing.
again, I'm not the expert, but I'm the tech guy, right? But
Right.
then, I was in the States about 1 month ago. I was attending Sokol event, right? There's a
Mhm.
Kevin O'Reilly. We actually met there, right, through the
Mhm.
Startup World Cup. But
Yeah.
there's another event called Converge happening very next to um, the venue that we met in San Francisco,
Mhm.
and it's really about regulations and all that, right? Because if the banks or the whole money is at, right, you the the money that stores, if they are not going to be if they're going to be involved, that means SEC will give a consent to it, right? If there's no certain regulations, I don't think those big money will come into the industry, and that was something that they were concerned about, right? So unless there is a situation changes and the regulations, the price is not going to come back again. So that was the conversation, and then this FTX stuff happened. So I think regulation is not gonna, back you guys up. But then there's a little bit of interesting story happening in Japan.
Mhm.
So usually in the States, right, we could do things and then regulation comes later, right? But in Japan, regulation comes first. So that's why there's no innovation. We're super slow.
Regulation comes first.
Yeah, that's what Japanese government or Japanese
Well, how do they
politicians
know?
do
How
all the
do
time.
they know what to regulate if it's not there?
But they will just be super strict about whatever innovation, but they try to make a rule before we do things.
That's amazing. Well, how do you know
That's crazy.
how do you know how to set the speed limit of the car or the road if you don't know how fast the car goes, right?
Exactly. you know but then here's an interesting story, right? So because of Japanese FSA, which is same as SEC in the States, FSA set this regulation where how to store the assets, right? How to protect the consumer's asset. So FTX Japan was able to secure the consumer's asset. So that's actually, you know, we've been super slow on innovation when it comes to Web3, but then the whole industry was saved by this regulation. So I think, besides Japan, most of the countries, this whole thing is going to go for a while, at least 1 to 2 years. You guys not going to come back for Web3, I guess, but at least, NTT Docomo announced that they will put, I don't know, 600, $6 billion US to this Web3 uh, ecosystem and all that. So I think it could be quite interesting for a Japanese companies to go into this industry right now.
So how do we look at it? If you look at the Web3, what? Let's look at where we are today with the web, and let's look at Web3. Let's talk to the audience because many people don't know. What are the differences going to be, Jen, and what do we need to protect?
Right. Interesting. So first off, a lot of people talk about Web3 and metaverse at the same time, right?
Mm-hmm.
So Web3 metaverse and Web2 metaverse, the big difference is whether there's an interoperability or not. What that means is if you go into a metaverse, because you have your own wallet, right? So you're able to take your asset in this metaverse. For example, you have, your shorts, fashion brands and all that. If you buy in this metaverse, because you own that, right? You purchased it. And in the world of Web3, you own the digital asset. So you can bring to the other metaverse as far as the metaverse is compatible. So that's a big difference, right? What Facebook probably is doing at this point is, Web2 metaverse, where there's no interoperability, there's no digital asset, no digital currency. So that makes a big difference, right? Because, US and Japan, we trade, right? Because we have assets and we have currency. But Web2 metaverse, there's no currency, there's no digital asset.
So
But the
currently,
world of
being
Web3,
able to trade in the Web3, that's number one. Okay.
exactly.
But that opens up the opportunity for nefarious people to come in. If you're trading something, they can steal something, right?
Yeah.
So how are we going to protect?
Protecting that's been very difficult in the industry, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, a couple years ago, tons of billions of dollars got stolen from crypto.
Mm-hmm.
So again, right, I think we came up with the technology to prevent that. And also the blockchain itself is traceable. The whole problem is because without connecting to the internet, you can create a wallet, right? And this wallet is not connected to the internet, but I still can send $1 million to this account. So blockchain itself has a traceability, right? If I transfer this cash to this wallet address, everything is transparent. But who holds this wallet?
Well, that's the other thing, right?
Right. This is so difficult because you can create a wallet without connecting to the internet. That means I can have my laptop open to create my secret account and ask Gary to send $1 million. People will never find out who this wallet is. So that's the biggest problem. And that's what Twitter Jack Dorsey stated in June this year that, he talked about Web5, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think that in order to evolve this whole Web3 thing, there got to be an identity, right? Transparency that blockchain provides is quite innovative. It's a game changer for sure. But without having an identity, there's no safe place on this blockchain in internet space.
Got it. Interesting. So tell me, so in terms of Upbond, so what are you going to do about it, and what are you looking to do? Where do you see Upbond in the next 2 years?
Right. So we focus on the identity, right? We provide a wallet, but our wallet enables consumers to have an identity. So there is a few levels of identity that we provide. One is our own identity. So you could connect your personal information as a smart contract layer so that at least we can tell this wallet address has name, last name, whatsoever. Of course, we're not going to be able to access to it unless you give me a consent, right? That's the first layer. The second layer is KYC layer. So we will have the concept of decentralized identifier is, you own the identity, but then there's a issuer. For example, driver's license. I forgot the name of the place that issued driver's license. What was it?
DMV.
DMV. I hate it, man. I hated DMV. It's
Mhm.
anyways. So DMV is an issuer, right? They issue decentralized identifier for you to hold, and then there's for example, Coca-Cola wants to access to your personal information. You give a consent to Coca-Cola, and the Coca-Cola can get a real data. You don't want to maybe reveal your driver's license number, but you might want to reveal your first name and last name or something. So there's a sort of identity layer that you can choose who to trust. So
Mhm.
that is what we're
You choose
bringing
who to
in.
trust. I like that. Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, without having digital identity or decentralized identifier in the blockchain space, I don't think it's going to be safe enough for a normal general public to use any of the services.
Hmm. Wow, it's
So that's
amazing.
what
And
we're doing. Yeah.
so how's business? Where are you right now with your business?
Right. So it's been great. I've been speaking in public regarding this topic, Web3, and I was at AdTech Tokyo in conference. I was speaking to really the uh, top-notch business guys in Japan.
Hmm.
So we have a lot of traction, and a lot of Japanese companies putting from 300K US dollar to 1 million US dollar for research and development in Web3 space
Hmm.
right now. So basically, we are setting up a consortium with the largest Japanese advertisement agency, as well as Polygon. Polygon supports Starbucks, Disney for blockchain, right?
Hmm.
So we are creating consortium so that each large corporates who has no idea what to do in Web3 space will come to this consortium to start a Web3 projects. And then every projects that we incubate through this consortium, Upbond wallets are in, right?
Hmm.
Safe for general public, and there's identity layer behind it. So that's how we are trying to bring this whole industry to the next level in Japan. But obviously, I need your help, right? I have to get into the States because I think we have a great product. We know what we're doing, but we have no idea how to get into the US market. I don't know if it's a good timing though, but
Well, I
that
mean,
was
you'd be
right.
surprised, here's the thing that's really interesting for me, right? I've never seen as many startups over my 37 years in building companies, as many startups coming to the US as I have now, like never. And the reason is because of COVID. These companies were cooped up. They're just like yourselves. They didn't get a chance to travel at the time. Um, and they're looking for that next level, right?
Hmm.
Connections. So there's an effect called the Pygmalion of self-fulfilling prophecy. You actually start to create what you believe in, right? And that's
Hmm.
I see it like now. I addressed 126 Korean companies last week at SalesForce Tower. Um, Before that, Saudi companies. Before that, Ukrainian companies. Just, I mean, I've never seen it like it is now, and I've seen a lot of
Hmm.
ways, but nothing like now. So it's a great time if you know who to get to. It's a great
Right.
time if you really, you got all your pieces together and you're ready to present.
Hmm.
There's 200 at Salesforce Tower last week. I saw there's $290 billion worth of dry powder right now. It's
Wow.
dry powder than any time ever, right? People don't realize 290. That was right from one of the law firms and one of the top investors in Silicon Valley. I was in the meeting. I saw it.
Cool.
So this is a great time. The thing is, it's about running as fast as you can and
Yep.
moving in the right direction and making sure when you're running that you're able to keep up with it because
Right.
it's not like it's never straight. It's always convoluted. You know what I mean? It's like
Hmm.
it's never
Right.
straight. The key is being able to figure it out, and that's exactly where GSD comes
Right.
in together because
It's been great, right, working with you guys because obviously, I can't even write English very well. So, like helping us to really, sort out what to pitch, what to prioritize, what to remove, right? Removing from the contents is always the hard part. We put too much contents.
Well, and you got to make it enchanting and exciting. I mean, we have some companies that have moved from GSD Labs to the Venture Studio, where they want direct help with coming into the U.S. and they want a closer
Hmm.
relationship. And some of the companies have moved in that direction, and that become it's like ClickSoftware, right? Or Eva, my company. It's like
Right.
you get into it. I've been doing this stuff for 37 years. Imagine who you know.
Hmm.
It's kind of funny, you're walking down the street like, "Hey, how are you?" And or you get a call from somebody on the phone, and they're a famous tech entrepreneur, but to you, they're your friend. And you're telling
Right.
them funny stuff, you're telling jokes and stuff, and then everybody, they're on TV. But the key is having those relationships to build the trust and credibility, and then
Hmm.
understanding where to go with it. So
Yeah.
it just, we named the company GST for a reason. It's get shit done. It ain't about the talk; it's about the action.
Yeah.
I'm glad
Yeah.
you're
At least the reason I loved it is because that's like what my life is all about, right? I usually make action, and then making actions will take you somewhere. But right now, I think I'm at the stage where I need to have a good direction instead of like in 20s I was random. I was running as fast as can every single moment. That's why I'm here, and I'm able to present myself good enough in this market. But I think when we have to become global, a number one company in this field, I think I need a good help. And now I can take a good notes, right? Because you know I've done enough in
Done
20s.
a lot. You're amazing. You've done a lot of stuff. But that's why we're here to help. You've done a great job, Jen. We'll have a follow up call. I'll have Jane set up some so we can talk about things. And
Perfect.
I
Hey,
want to
by the way,
go ahead.
right, I want to ask you about, I was amazed about this ecosystem that, Silicon Valley offers, right? Within like an hour, 2 hours of flight, you basically, can get together. And interestingly, large corporates are buying or using startup products. That's a huge difference. In Japan, they will never use startup products.
Mhm.
So, how can I be a Silicon Valley membership club?
You're,
How can I get in?
you're coming to one of the club members. That's one of the ways to get in. We can talk.
Cool.
We can talk about it in granular detail. So I mean, it's we can get into it. But the thing is, coming into the club, there's a lot of trust and credibility that
Right.
you need to have. And the other thing is success, right? And you've got a lot of those pieces. So you come to the right place. We'll have a offline. We we could have 50,000 people all over our different venues watching this thing. So I won't get into it right now. But
Okay.
Jen, I want to thank you. This is this is the most conversational of all the different events, and I've done 1,000 podcasts. This is the most conversational one I've ever had. So it's kind of like
Cool.
it's here together with you. I feel like we're doing a Zoom, but to the rest of the planet. We're in Spotify. We're in Apple right now. We're being broadcast on podcast.
Wow, I didn't know
Right?
that. I thought I was on Zoom with you.
No. We're all over the world right now. We're in 7 or 8 different venues. Anchor FM, the radio station. So we're all over
Perfect.
the place. But I want to thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule. You're an incredible guy doing incredible things, and making the world a safer place, especially as we're moving towards a Web3 and the metaverse. So, to my audience out there, I want to thank you for tuning in one more time to GSD Presents Silicon Valley AI and Tech. And my name is Gary Fowler, and I'm your host. We'll be back again on Thursday with another exciting edition. Stay happy, stay safe, and stay healthy. And I'll see you later. Thanks, Jen. I appreciate your time.
Thank you so much for your time as well.